Hey, it's the podcast guy.
Sutton United Talk Time on podcast. It's the Sutton Podcast.
And there it is! Sutton United of the GM Vauxhall Conference have put out First Division Coventry City, winners of the FA Cup themselves less than 2 years ago. And what a moment to enjoy for the fans of this Surrey side. They've had their moments before, but never one like this. But the whistle goes now. Delight for Sutton United. Sutton United, the National League, are through to the last 16 of the FA Cup. No longer English football's perennial non-league club. A 123-year crescendo reaches a new peak for Sutton United, who are promoted to the Football League for the first time.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Sutton United Talk Time on podcast. It's the Sutton Podcast. I've had to explain that name a couple of times because people didn't actually realise that it is deliberate. S-U-T-T, Sutton United Talk Time on podcast. Sutton Podcast. It's very clever. Had to play the intro to get us in the mood because it was a bit flat. Joining me today to make sense of everything yesterday is Paul. How you doing, Paul?
Hey, how you doing, mate? Yeah, all good, thank you.
Good. Well, I did ask for some sort of help for you today to kind of get some talking points, and I did get one video message. I'm not sure how good it's going to help, but I'll play it just to sort of spike some conversation. So this was from Sarah, Sutton South. And that's the description of yesterday's game. Thank you for joining us.
Not a bad start. Not a bad start.
So, I don't know why I keep picking on teams like Canvey and Braintree. I know we've played worse teams than them, but I just constantly seem to be like my go-to. But some of the comments I'm seeing from people who are at the game are people who've traipsed up and down over the years at Sutton. So this isn't like knee-jerk, aren't we terrible, blah, blah, blah. This is people who have seen us playing some awful football. And this has been described as one of the worst games in living memory. How was it?
I don't know if I'll go that far. I don't know if I'll go in living memory or it might be up there as one of our worst games under Matt's tenure. I think it's certainly going to be in the top three, probably.
Right.
Yeah,
Or
it was
bottom three.
Yeah. It was low on quality. The misplaced passes, the balls were just getting pinged up to Killian or up to Omar, and you know that wasn't sticking. The midfield weren't there. Sort of second balls, we weren't winning any of those. It just seemed to be pinging back all the time. You know, it just seemed to constantly be them on the attack. You know, I posted a tweet yesterday and I was saying, yeah, this was dreadful, just absolutely dreadful. I didn't think Gillingham were poor. I thought as well. They had 3 goals disallowed very early in the first half. And yeah, all offside, clearly offside. So I don't think that's any question, but it probably helped them. It probably built up their confidence, knowing they're getting those chances. They weren't great, but they were dominant. You know,
Yeah.
we early on, I thought there was huge gaps in between our centre backs, and the ball seemed to be going through the channel. Lovely every time. Seemingly every time they were going forward, we made it hard for ourselves. We did really make it hard for ourselves. I felt Omar was coming a bit deep at times as well, a bit too deep, and that isolated Killian. So that was another reason the ball kept coming back as well. So if Omar wasn't on the end of the headers, you know, then
So what to do it.
it just didn't work. The game plan just didn't seem to be. It didn't look like we had one, to be honest. It just looked disorganised, and we were just it was a bit of a shambles. And in having thought about it overnight and the likes, I'm like, we're going to have the odd game where it's going to be bad, and it's been a bad one. We've got to come back. It can't be that bad again, surely.
Just a couple of points there. There didn't seem to be any outcry about the offside goals, so they clearly were offside, because normally if you have 3 goals chalked off, people are being slating the referee. But Mr. Rock didn't seem to be doing as bad as I said he would be. On the Omar thing, I mean, because I was a bit surprised, I'll be honest, at the start with Omar and Killian, because I thought Matt kind of saw Killian as an Omar. So I was a bit surprised to put the two of them together. Were you expecting that, or were you kind of expecting to see Charlie come on? Or
it was a difficult one, really. I think I was expecting Charlie. I was expecting Charlie to start. Killian did a lot of running. You know, he was doing the Donovan Isaac type job from last season, or Donovan from this season. You know, he was putting a lot of effort in, 100%. So he didn't do. He didn't do a huge amount wrong.
It's just that's the way I've kind of thought Matt was seeing him, not necessarily what he does, because I'm not sure he is the big man to lump it forward to.
So would you say you see it as it would be Donovan or Charlie as our one striker, if you like, and then the other 4 top 8?
Top 8. That's how I thought Matt was seeing it, not how I see it, because obviously we all know I'm blind and I don't see Jack anyway. So, but yeah, maybe someone was saying that Harry had quite a quiet game and was clearly not as sharp as normal. So maybe that's why Omar was dropping deeper to try and cover Harry, which again is annoying that Ali's then been injured, because potentially Harry might not have played and we could put Ali, which could have.
Lovett's back as well, isn't he?
Lovett is back. Obviously, we don't know also, because even Lovett was back, but Barden came on at centre mid.
Yeah, true.
So we don't know exactly what Matt's seeing there. But to be fair, from what we saw of him last season, he didn't do an awful lot wrong.
No.
So yeah, but
maybe there's a pecking order, and he's a bit further down at the moment.
Yeah,
might get his chance.
Absolutely. But it's good to see Rob back, and he got the full 90, I think.
Yes.
So it's good to see him back in the side again. There was one
moment. Sorry, go on.
No, go on.
I was going to say the fullbacks, they were getting in behind our fullbacks constantly as well. They've obviously done a lot of work on us, I think. Seeing that we try to get forward a bit with the fullbacks, and they were constantly. They were getting in behind. So I don't know how many attacks they've had. I've not looked at the stats or anything, or how many, chances they've created or what have you. But
on the stats, at half time, I'm not overly obsessed with them, but at half time I had a little look, and it was like we were on something like 55% possession. I was like, what the hell is going on here? This isn't right.
I did see that one, yeah.
Yeah, it's not us, and maybe again that's them saying, okay, we'll let them have the ball. And because normally we're that efficient, hit on the break and all the rest of it. So maybe they were saying just leave them have it and see what they can do. I mean, Dan did say that most of that possession was us just passing it across the back and then lumping it forward and all the rest of it. Josh had a fairly quiet game from what I could tell, but still had some of our best chances.
Yeah, he was quieter definitely. But I would, I've been thinking a lot about the pod, to be honest with you already. After the game, I was like, how am I going to find 4? So, but no, Josh was one of our most creative players, one of the lively players. Yeah, in a bad bunch, if you like, amongst a bunch who had a bad game. So the pods are going to be the players who didn't have a bad game rather than the players who had a good game.
I was worried for a little minute you were going to start picking players that were on the bench. I was like, no, you can't do that. That's taking the piss.
So was Jenny there?
But on the goal, there was just something that happened just before the goal, and I saw it this morning very, very briefly. I watched it back on my iPhone this morning, the last sort of few minutes, because I just wanted to see, well, hang on, what were we doing when that scoreboard went up? Did we just all drop? Did we panic? And there was this one moment where their striker kind of had a little altercation with, I think it was Kobe, and I think it just kind of did that annoying, lifted them for a second or two and just got their backs up, which then gave them that impetus towards the last, well, not the last few minutes, but just literally as that scoreboard went up, I think it was a minute or so later, that they scored the goal. But even that goal, Tony said it in the interview, we had one in the first half where their keeper saved it and it dropped to one of their defenders to clear. What happened with us is Lewis saved it and it dropped to one of their strikers to head in.
I think our performance helped raise their support. They're you know, they were the attacking side predominantly, you know, and that got the support behind them. You know, they were attacking their home fans, and I think that had a part as well. So I think there was, you know, we didn't help ourselves on many fronts yesterday. As I say, I think we really have got to chalk it up as just one. Forget about that one.
Yeah,
let's assess it on Monday morning.
Yeah,
learn from it, and
so even this season, that's our 5th away game, and all the others, we felt that we could have come away with something. This, I think, is the only one. If we'd come away with something, you guys would have been coming away going, "Ooh, we got away with one there." So, in the scheme of our away games, on the view of our away games, it's not that bad. 1 out of 5. But then when you take the whole season as a whole, again, it's 1 out of 5. I think the problem is when things aren't working for us, people are saying, "Well, hang on, what's the option? What have we got?" Gabriel was saying basically, who have we got on the bench to go, right, on you go, and change it? I did see someone calling for Enzio to have a start. Again, he's a hot and cold player. He did have starts at the beginning of the season, and he wasn't doing a great deal with it. But who do you drop? Do you drop Josh, who seems to be a very creative off-the-seat player, or Will, who seems to be a great creative player, even though he probably had a quiet game yesterday?
Yeah, he was quiet yesterday,
Yeah. So, in the scheme of things, over the season, it's not that bad. Over our total EFL experience, not that bad.
No.
Over the last 12 years, it's definitely not that bad.
No, definitely. We on the way there, you know, we were like, we could. This is 3 points for the taking here. They've scored twice all season. You know, they're low in confidence. We get at them. We harry them. You know, we've got a chance to maybe win this one. Yeah, just didn't show up. Their
manager is someone who, like me, pays a passing interest in other clubs. Even I'm like, oh, I know that name. So he's not a mug. He knows what he's doing, and he's going to be working on the training ground. So we have to remember that they're going to be working just as hard as we are.
He was in Championship, wasn't he, with Cardiff and Millwall?
Yeah.
I think, was he Millwall manager? Yeah.
I think he was Millwall. Yeah, he's definitely got connections at Millwall.
Yeah.
I did. Yeah, they did hope to have Isaac at one stage, but the chap I spoke to, the Kills in the Blood, was like, I knew that was never happened, because if he was going to come back to League Two, he would have gone to Sutton again. He wouldn't have gone to another League Two club. So but still, I mean, we've got others coming back. Tope's hopefully coming back from injury soon. He's scored a few goals. Funny enough, I saw him yesterday. He was randomly in the park and he was setting up some training equipment, and we just walked past when I was taking the little one to ballet. And then later on, he was unpacking it all. Now, I'd assumed that it was someone just training a bunch of kids, but then I just thought, that's a bit weird. There's no kids there and everyone's gone already. So I sort of just said, "Oh, do you need a hand bringing it to your car?" And he was like, no. And then he sort of smiled and said, "Thank you," and then walked off. And as I walked up the road, I suddenly went, hang on a minute, I think I've just realised who that is. I'm just like, yay, well done, Mike. So I sent him a message and was that you? I just saw in the park. He was like, yeah. I was like, oh, next time I see you, can you just say, "Yes, Mike, it's me," so I can actually say hello properly.
He's getting fit then. That's good to
He's
hear.
getting fit. He was working on it and he's running a little bit, sort of over and above what he's doing with the club. Probably Sean's probably right now going, "Don't you? What's he was running in the park? No, how dare he? I've probably got him in right shit now." He's gentle.
It makes you wonder. It makes you wonder about our fitness, though, doesn't it? With all these late goals, we've got the Sean guy in and Dundo, and you'd like to think it's something that would have improved.
Well, Matt was saying in his interview, which I know you haven't heard yet, but he was saying that he can't work it out. He's you can hear him. He's frustrated, and I think Kobe said it as well. He said, if you look at these goals, none of them have a common theme. None of them are because the players are all just gone, "Oh, I can't do it." None of them are because the same person's making a mistake. They're individual mistakes that wouldn't necessarily happen in a different part of the game. But it's hurting us at the moment because I love my little stats and spreadsheets. And last year I was very much banging the drum going, no, this is evened itself out. This season, it absolutely has not evened itself out. We've conceded 2 at Doncaster in the last 9. Well, this is all 90 plus 1 because the last 10 we have actually evened ourselves out. We've scored 1 and conceded 1 where we've turned a loss into a win, a draw into a win, and a win into a draw into a loss. But the 90 plus, we've had Doncaster where we conceded 2, so we lost a win there. Swindon, we were drawing, and then we conceded, so we lost there. Leighton Orient, we conceded a late goal, but it didn't make any difference because we were 2-1 down, so 2-1 or 3-1 makes no difference. Salford, again, late goal, and Gillingham, late goal. So we've conceded 6 late goals, and we've scored none. Which obviously is a big thing. But what can you do? I mean, some suggestions yesterday that the last few minutes we should have stuck another defender on. That invites pressure. So you go 5 at the back. We've never played 5 at the back. So the players are going to get confused and get in each other's way.
I'm trying to think what the home game was earlier in the season when stoppage time, we just played it perfectly. We just controlled the game.
There was 2 games where I can't.
It wasn't Hartlepool, I don't think, because
I don't think it was Hartlepool. Yeah, but there was 2 games earlier in the season, and it was like that's what we need to be doing. Yeah, and we did it absolutely beautifully, and it's just not happened since.
No.
But I mean, you could say potentially. Stick Aaron on just to bring that little bit of experience and composure. But then could you say that I know the goal got conceded and everyone was a bit annoyed, but could you really say that either Kobe or Louis needed to come off because they were controlling everything really? So
it's a tricky one. It's a tricky one, isn't it?
But it's definitely getting in the play. It's definitely getting in their heads.
Away form as well could be. The fact that our away form is a thing now. Is a problem. Is that into their heads as well? That just creates a little bit of tension, doesn't it?
Well, definitely. If you're Stevenage, especially Stevenage, you're going to be saying, get at them in the last 5. At the last 5 minutes, absolutely get at them because they're weak there. Especially Stevenage as they're so strong in these sort of added time goals, which is really great for us. The other option is potentially go the complete opposite and go all out attack in those last few minutes. Just go, you know what? No, we're just going to go score ourselves. Because if you do go too defensively, we've seen it over the years so many times. We can see it from sort of 70 odd minutes going, no, don't sit back. Don't invite them onto you. Go for it.
Done it so many times,
Yeah. Was Donovan a miss? Because I know there's been criticism of Donovan this year, and not as many goals. But were we missing him just holding the ball up a little bit and running onto the flick-ons and all the rest of it?
Possibly a little. But as I say, Killian did a lot of running, a lot of chasing, but he didn't get a lot of ball, to be honest. He didn't get a huge amount of the ball. I don't know if that was maybe a lack of understanding between Omar and Killian, perhaps. You know, runs were being made in different ways to the way Donovan does it, and there's just that, you know,
chemistry.
They aren't tuned in. Yeah, the chemistry. They aren't tuned into each other. You know, we can't play with the same 11 every week, can we? I know we do it to a point, don't we? But things like this are going to happen, and then you can't just write those games off, can you? So so we need to understand that we've got to all work together as a unit. And hopefully in training, it's something that is worked on or will be worked on.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll be. I mean, the general theme, to be fair to those sort of moaning, criticising, is I'm sure Matt and Jason will sort it out. I mean, they're defenders. They're gonna they're gonna be steaming about this.
No doubt. They you know, they feel it as much as we do. You know.
Yeah.
They're totally engrossed in this club, aren't they? And I've no doubt in the fact that they're going to sort this out. And you know, I'd like to think that Stevenage performance will be improved, even if we don't get anything out of it. Just an improved performance. And show a bit of fight.
Guaranteed.
You know, it felt like our centre backs were trying to be our creative players yesterday as well.
Yeah,
the balls that Kobe and Louis seem to be hitting crossfield balls, you know, diagonal balls, and went out a good few times, or they're going straight to the defenders and coming straight back. So many things didn't work. So many things, but
well, before we go too much onto Stevenage, here's the bit you've been looking forward to, I'm sure.
Hey.
We're going to be choosing the player of the day.
Watch me do my dance, I'm the player of the day.
So, right, should we get this very quickly?
Let's scrape some barrels here.
Okay. Right, Wardy, clearly Lewis Ward in goal. He's he had a barrage of balls coming at him, and he's done very well. Wasn't at fault for the goal at all. You know, he's knocked it out, and someone's got to it, and he doesn't get into it.
I mean, even that goal, it hit the bar winning. So another millimetre that way, it might come back out again. But it is what it is.
Yeah, so definitely Lewis Ward. Eastie was doing what Eastie does.
Yeah,
he was generally solid. You know, I think he got himself a booking as per, but he was generally pretty solid. And as I said earlier, it's about the players who I'm choosing players who didn't do anything particularly wrong or didn't have a bad game rather than had a good game.
Yeah.
So I'd add Josh in there as well. He was our most creative player. Had a couple of chances. I feel like the last one's going to have to go to you, Mike. You can. you might have to think of one.
I'm going to chuck Kobe in. Again, on the basis of I didn't see a huge amount wrong. Did what he had to do. Was fairly solid. Yes, there was a goal, but yeah, it's a hard one. It's always hard when we have a good win or a good loss. It's always difficult picking players because it's like who can you pick?
They did take. Sorry. They did take they did get a lot of. They were worked a lot. To be fair, the back four. I don't think I'd have chosen any of the back four personally, but it's difficult to find one. Difficult to find one, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But I'll stick them up and we'll see what other people think. Every vote could count this week, guys. So Stevenage, they have had the absolute opposite of what we're doing. I did speak to one of their fans a little bit earlier, and I'll be taking that interview on to directly after this. Full of confidence.
I'm not surprised.
So how do you see it going? I know we're looking for a reaction, and we generally, in fairness, get that reaction from Matt's teams. But how do you see it going?
Yeah, improved performance necessary, definitely. It's a hard one with our away form. Them on fire. What do? Do you sit and invite them on, or do you go for it and leave gaps? It's so difficult.
Yeah.
Set pieces, they're a big, strong side, you know. So it could be quite a battle of a tie. We were saying Pierre Gianni always seems to score against us. I think in the last God knows how many games he has scored against us. So we're off expecting him to get nick one as well, you know, from a set piece. Yeah, tough. What do you hope for from it? All I want is fight. A plan B as well. You know, if plan A isn't working, let's try something different. Let's try and change things around a bit. And you know, we never change formation. I think we're going to stick pretty much with our formation, aren't we? I can't see that ever changing. But
this is where I think this. I don't know, Matt hates the term, but the second season syndrome comes in. It's not necessarily there's anything that we're doing wrong. It's just others have kind of went, oh, okay, we know how they're going to play. We know what to do. Like you were saying with Gillingham getting their fullbacks attacking and the wingers attacking our fullbacks. So it's going to be teams sussing us out a bit more. So, yeah, maybe we need to do something just completely random and throw people a bit.
Yeah. Just attacking the second balls as well, you know. If we're not winning the challenges, if we're not winning, if the ball's coming back constantly, we've got to be winning the second and third balls rather than leaving it, rather than, you know, not sitting off or anything. But we lose that second ball, then, you know, it's how we had, you know, the possession stats that are saying we had so much more possession. It was only in those ineffective areas. So it's win the ball in the right places, and that's
it is the opposite of what we normally have. I mean, so much possession. It was only like 55, but we're normally 30s.
That's a lot for us.
We're normally in the 30s. So I mean, I'm ever the optimist, and I'm sitting there going, right, we're going to get a proper reaction, and we're going to be 1 goal down. The board's going to go up, and we're going to go up and score a couple times and take a late win and start turning it all around. It's
that sort of league, though, isn't it? There are sides, you know. Newport beat Orient yesterday.
Yeah,
you know, Newport have been struggling a bit, haven't they? They're terrible at home. They've won 1 in 10, 11 at home or something. I don't think their away form's fantastic, but
it's one of those phrases that get trotted out all the time, but it's fine lines. Everything is fine lines, and you never know. Sometimes we're on that side of it, sometimes we're on this side of it. At the moment, we seem to be on this side of it, but last year we had a lot of games that we were that side of it. So I'm sure it will spin around again, and we'll be grand. Thank you very, very much. Thank you for your time. Go and enjoy the rest of your Sunday. And I am off now to, I think all the shopping's been put away, so I dodged that job. And we'll be off to the ladies' game this afternoon, so I'll do a little outro to everyone, so I'll tell you the result of it. So I'll see you all later. Thanks a lot. Take care. Thank you for taking the time to listen to Sutton United Talk Time on podcast, the Sutton Podcast. If you are new to the show, hello, and you are very welcome. Hope you enjoy what we do. It's a very simple format. We get a few people on to talk about the game that's just gone, and then we preview the next game coming up. We are available on most podcast platforms where you can listen, rate and review. If you find that we're not on your preferred platform, please let me know and I'll sort that for you. If anyone would like to support the podcast, you can find out how with more information on the website, which is www.suttonpodcast.com, and there's a tab where you can find out how to be a guest as well. Please find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram and TikTok with the username @SuttonPodcast. Every like, follow and share is really appreciated. Hope you enjoy the rest of the show. Thank you. And joining me now is yet another smug opponent fan. We seem to be getting them all the time. We've got Nate from BoroPod. Hi, Nate. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad, mate. I don't know where you're getting the smug idea from. I've barely said anything so far.
Well, anyone who's doing as well as you guys, especially picking up points in the last few minutes, has got to be feeling a little bit, ooh, I like this game of football.
Yeah, especially given like the last few years where we've been absolutely horrendous. Yeah. I mean, the COVID year where we should have gone down, we lost something like 27 or 30 points to goals conceded in past the 85th minute.
Right. Okay.
And that was by about January, that's just incredibly poor, isn't it? That's unbelievable. But if we keep this up, we'll have won that many in the after the 85th minute by January.
Perfect.
So
yeah. So hopefully that's the wheel turning around because it evens itself out. But before we get into that a little bit, just want to know a little bit sort of about yourself, your podcast, and sort of why you support Stevenage. Essentially, it's who are you?
I did not expect that. Okay, well, who am I? So, Nate, I'm the host of BoroPod, which we started about February this year. And that was mainly because we were fed up of being rubbish. This was in the middle of the Paul Tisdale experiment towards the end of last season. Well, for most big part of last season. And we started it when we were in a run of about two or three games where we'd we'd played okay, but we'd lost and we're getting a bit annoyed. So we started the podcast. It's another Stevenage fan. Two Stevenage fans. One of them is the stadium announcer at Stevenage that's on there. And then we didn't win for about our first seven or eight episodes. It was a long time. And and that was after obviously Steve Evans had come in, and then it sort of just took off from there, and we were good again, and we are a bit smug about it, but we've enjoyed. I mean, in reality, since we went up to League One 10 years ago, we've enjoyed almost a decade of really poor football.
Well, yeah, I mean, funny enough, I'm doing a recording all back to front a little bit today where I'm doing you first, and I've got a Sutton fan coming on a bit later on. I'm sure we're going to be discussing that we've just had probably our worst game in a long time, and a lot of people saying it aren't the sort of normal reactionary, oh, that's awful. These are guys who've sort of rocked up at, I keep saying Canvey Island, Braintree, all these clubs. So they've seen some dross. So, but we've had the opposite. We've had sort of 11, 12 years of just continual growth.
Rising, yeah.
So one or two bad games aren't the end of the world.
No, and you're gonna get them. But I guess the difference between sort of riding out bad performances and sort of capitulating under them as a fan base, right, is we might be performing badly, but are we still picking up points where we can? Like Stevenage, third in the table at the moment. We've played some really great football. We've had a couple of really bad games where we've still won, and that's huge. That's a huge difference to what a lot of our recent years have been, and particularly, a lot of teams probably in the league at the moment not playing particularly well, but they're not quite hanging on to games where they might have even if it's just for a point or the 3 points, it's the late capitulation which really kills you, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's a hope of the point that kills you.
Well, we seem to have done the opposite. Last Saturday aside, we seem to have done the opposite, where we've played well and we've done all right and then got nothing.
To be fair, that's even worse, isn't it?
Hang on a second, we're doing lovely things, but you know what? It'll turn again. I'm sure.
Sure, yeah.
But so on to Tuesday. What kind of obviously we've touched a little bit on the season so far. It's going splendidly well so far, but what were the expectations going into the season? What were your hopes this year?
It's a really difficult question, because we've been expecting relegation battles year on year, literally. I can't remember the last. I think maybe 6 years, 5-6 years ago, we expected a pretty good season. Actually, I think it was a COVID season. We were expecting to go into the season fairly strong. We'd had a lot of recruitment, and there were a lot of very experienced, like League 1, League 2 players came into the squad. Turns out they were all released because they were rubbish. And it was absolutely horrendous. Whereas this season, it felt towards the beginning of the season or approaching the season the sort of same, because we were really excited about a lot of the signings we made. Obviously, until you see them play as a team, you don't know how good you're going to be.
No.
And pre-season, for us, pre-season's playing loads of local teams that are 5 divisions below us, and when we're winning 1-0 against a couple of them, it's like, oh crap, this is not going well. But we've just been incredible. We had Luke Norris on the show pre-season, and he said I don't want to sort of overdo it and be a bit too up on ourselves, but we're looking at playoffs minimum. And we were all like, hold on, let's calm it down. This can't be real. This can't be right. But yeah, no. So, I mean, now we're third. There's a gap to fourth now. There's 4 points between us and Bradford, I think, in fourth. Mm-hmm. There's 3 points between Orient in first and us in third. So we're part of the pack that's pulling away. With when we were up there to begin with, we were like, let's see how long it lasts. Maybe we'll other the better teams will just slowly gap, and we'll hover around sort of the lower promotion, the playoff places. That'll be fine. That's above expectations. Literally, all we wanted pre-season was to avoid a relegation battle.
Yeah,
obviously, we're all hoping for, because that's an improvement.
A season of stability and mid-table.
No, that's it. That's it. That would have been a pleasure, honestly, because we'd win some games. I would lead some games.
Yeah,
but we wouldn't. Just not having the pressure of, oh God, we might go down, would just be such a relief. But we're third after 11 games.
Quarter of the season's gone. So
we are playing some very, very solid, good football. We're not the team conceding late. We are the team scoring goals late. Our back three might genuinely be the best back three in the league. I think that each one of those centre backs could be one of the best 3 or 4 centre backs in the league. They are unbelievable.
Well, we as I sort of said, we seem to have the opposite curse this year. We have lost a total of 7 points to late goals. We've scored we've had, I can't remember how many goals now. I think it's about 6 goals in the 90+ minute we've conceded. We've not scored one. There was a bit of a question on this, and again, I'm probably boring people who are listening because I'm probably going to chat to Paul about it earlier. But the last season when we lost in the Pete's Cup final to a very late goal, then had another couple of games where we conceded late goals, and everyone's like, "Oh, this is always happening," and I'm like, I'm pretty sure it isn't always happening. So I went through all the years, and it was like, actually, to be fair, it was dead on zero over 3 years. It was dead on zero late goals, late winners. But at the moment, it is a definite. We're at the wrong end of this cycle.
Yeah.
But hopefully on Tuesday, you guys are going to be rushing forward, trying to go, and we'll go. No, we'll bomb it up the other end. we'll do the opposite. But what are your thoughts on Tuesday? What are your sort of lineup predictions? Who are we looking out for?
Okay, so I mean, like I mentioned the back three, obviously. So Carl Pierre Gianni, who we brought in from Oldham, who the Oldham fans were furious, right, because he had an incredible game against us towards the end of the season when it was us versus them for relegation. He had an incredible game, and the next game he got sent off, and they were like, right, well, he's obviously done a deal at Stevenage, and then in the summer he actually signed for us. They went mental. It was incredible. Dan Sweeney, we brought in from Forest Green. Who he was sort of not a bit part player so much last season, but he wasn't starting many games. I think he had 28 appearances in total last season. So it's a decent amount, but it's not all of the games. A lot of that was substitute appearances. He might be one of the best ball playing defenders I've seen. I mean, defender on the ball. I mean, he's probably got more dribbles past players than any other player on our team. He's just sensational, just turning people. And I said this a couple of weeks ago. So I work for Opta doing stats at the ground.
All right.
And I was saying to one of the guys in the office that I was on the phone to whilst we were doing the game, this guy's incredible. And then immediately he played a back pass. He played a really poor pass across the middle that almost resulted in a goal. So I was like, okay, maybe I shouldn't speak too soon. But he's unreal. Terence Van Kooten, who's been at the club for a few years, he's the centre of the three. I still feel like he's 16, but he's not because he's been here for years. But he just seems he's so solid. And the other two, I think, have elevated his game because he's had okay partners previously in the last few seasons, but these two have just brought his game up to a whole other level. So those three particularly. Alex Gilby, who we got on loan from Charlton on deadline day, I think. He's almost immediately gone in and started pinging balls around and being a bit of a midfield general. And then up top, Luke Norris has only scored once this season. And that's not because he's playing poor. It's just I think sort of the expectation he puts on himself to get goals is putting a bit too much pressure on himself. Mm-hmm. He's great at like getting involved in build up play, holding up the ball. He's incredibly strong on like knocking it on. He's very, very good at that, but he's just not been getting goals. But he got his first goal on Saturday, albeit from penalty spots. But sometimes that's what you need to uncork it. So I'd say him because I think that might be the second game where he's not started because of his lack of goals. But maybe we'll see him back in the lineup. Danny Rose up top again. He's not scoring hatfuls, but he's a proper pain in the ass for defenders. So you really don't want to play against him. And then Jordan Roberts scored an absolute filth of a filthy goal. It was great. It was great team play. The ball getting knocked around really nicely, and then ball gets chipped over the defensive line to Jamie Reid, who again is also a pain in the ass to play against. There's a theme here. He heads the ball across to right into the middle of the goal. Jamie Reid, and then Jordan Roberts just like volleys it and get like in off the bar. It's just, if you want to look forward to that, go and have a look at the Stevenage Crawley highlights because that goal was unbelievable. So yeah, that's how I'd say particularly. Cool. Obviously, good young wing backs as well. Kane Smith and Saxon Early. So Early's on loan from Norwich, and then we brought in Kane Smith up from Boreham Woods, and right. They've both got a little bit of a run of games now where they look like they may have become first choice against the more experienced counterparts that are in the squad.
Excellent. And your manager, how is he for you? He's a bit of a controversial. I wouldn't say Marmite. I'd say he's like a fish flavoured Marmite. Most people dislike him.
Most people dislike him. I'm reluctant to say I love him, but I might love him. But I think he's one of those that you love him when he's at your club and things are going well because of how much everybody else hates him, right? Mm-hmm. And then as soon as things start to go wrong for you, it all goes sour really quickly. Loads of whilst it's going well, like loads of opposition fans keep saying to us like, "Oh, just you wait, it will turn really sour. It'll go and take a job in China and leave you high and dry." But it's really good. Like we're solid at the back. We're playing good football. Some of the actual like passing sequences we put on throughout the season have been really good. We just don't score enough goals. That's our problem.
Okay.
The amount of goals we score, a lot of late goals, but the amount of goals we have compared to the amount of good chances we have is actually concerning.
Okay. And do you want to go out on the limb and give a prediction of a result, or
what's your? I usually do a bit more.
Our away record is awful.
It's awful, is it? What's your last five?
I think we've had one draw away from home all season, and we've lost the others.
That is bad.
We lost at Salford.
Oh, you lost to Gillingham as well. Jesus.
Yeah, that was a 91st minute goal.
I don't want to take the piss too much, but that's bad, isn't it? Okay.
That was the game that we're all saying is the worst we've played in years. So.
Right. Okay. Yeah, don't bode well, does it? 2-0.
2-0. Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, but we will have like 30 shots. I mean, that's literally the trend. That's literally the trend. Every game for the last 5 or 6 since. I mean, except for the Bradford away performance, which was pretty poor, where we lost 3-0. Every other game we're hitting between probably 20, 23, 24 and 29 shots a game. A lot of blocked shots because we're shooting from right from the edge of the area, and about on and off is about the same usually. But we're only converting 1 or 2.
So we just need to keep you under 25 shots and we've got a chance.
And it'll be one. Keep us under 25 shots, and it'll be 1-0 to like a
Okay.
93rd minute winner.
Fair enough. But so we're going to come on to the most important question of the day. What is the drinking establishments like? I just want to know a little recommendation for pub of the week. Right.
That is incredible.
I did say I wasn't going to release any video of this, but I'm going to try and find the moment where your eyebrows nearly hit your ceiling.
Yeah,
that
is incredible.
This is really shit. He told me it would be rubbish, but this is way beyond what I expected.
I'm far too lazy to do video, so we just do audio.
So it's a Tuesday night, so it's not a whole day thing. But where can they get a little drink before the game?
So you've probably got three options which are close to the ground. The first, which isn't at the ground, if you're coming up from the train station or you've parked across the road, the main road, Fairlands Valley, which is like the main car park, away from town, or away from the way you would come in from the motorway, about probably a 5-minute stroll up the road, you've got our mutual friend. It does get busy on match days, but it's fine. I wouldn't say it's any better than fine, but other people seem to love it. I don't know why. But then at the club, there are 2 drinking establishments. You've got what's it called? The Broadhall Suite, which everybody else calls Stripes. That's sort of round the back, nearer to the away stands. It's on the like far corner of the away stands. It's reasonable. And then the new North Stand bar, which is called the 76 Lounge, I'm pretty sure is open to away fans.
Maybe not.
Not that I ever see any in there. So maybe not. Maybe that's not. Maybe
that's just showing off. I like drinking in there. So
yeah, but again, they're fine. They're not particularly great, but they're not awful. The bar in the North Stands ain't long enough. That annoys me. Like, it's like the whole length. The room is the whole length of the stand, basically, or nearly. And it's got like this tiny bar.
Oh,
that's annoying. That does irritate. So the queues can be a bit silly sometimes in there, but Stripes for away fans is probably the best one for you.
Excellent.
The beer's not great. The beer's not awful. It's cheap. That's all you need.
It's wet.
Yeah.
I actually personally love it when people call bars by their old names, because there was this. We used to go to Ireland when I was a kid, and there was this pub, and it kept changing hands over the years, and no one ever called it by the name it is or the name previously. It was always the name 2 owners back, and it was just so confusing. Oh yeah, meet you by Dory's Forge, and it's like, where the hell is that? Oh yeah, it's got a different sign on it now. You're doing this to confuse people deliberately, aren't you? But yeah, I love it when people just refer to it as the old name. I think it's great. Thank you very much for your time. Let me crack on with your Sunday morning. A little bit longer than I said it would be, but perfect. Thank you very much.
That's my fault. Don't worry about it.
No, excellent. Good luck with the podcast. Mine started slightly opposite reason is we're doing well and we didn't have one, and I was like, that's not right. Let's get a podcast out there.
Capitalize, sure.
Yeah. But yeah, lots of people I speak to are because things were going really badly, so we thought we'd rant about it a little bit, and I'm like, okay,
yeah,
completely opposite. But who knows what's going to happen in the next few months? Hopefully not.
Exactly.
Well, thank you very much for your time, and I'll speak to you again soon, I'm sure.
Yeah, thank you. Cheers.
And just before we end today, just a quick shout out for the women's team who won their FA Cup match 3-0 away from home today, and they're into the next round of the Cup with about £4,000 prize money. So well done everyone involved, especially Lily was 2 goals, and she set up Liv for the opener. Thanks to Paul and Nate for their time today. Thanks to everyone for listening. It's really appreciated. If anyone wants to give me a shout on social media, it's at Sutton Podcast. We will see you next time to review the Stevenage match, hopefully with some late goals going in our direction, and that I should be joined hopefully with Dan and Robert Take care. See you all soon. Bye bye.
United!